Thank you very much. Now we move to our second question of the dialogue. To guide this part, we are very happy to have Raquel Valle from Spain. Raquel is a lawyer, writer, and international speaker. She is president of the Alma Canarias Association, general director in Spain of the Fundación Sede, and advisor of the Gandhi Mandela Foundation. She also leads important projects in equality, education, and support for victims of gender violence. Raquel, thank you for being with us today. The floor is yours to introduce the topic, remember, open the discussion, and make a final summary. A moment, Raquel. Rogelio, I said you. After Raquel, I give you the word, okay? Thank you. Welcome, Raquel.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank you, Jose Raúl, for the presentation and this opportunity. Today, I will moderate the second question of the inspirational dialogue. For centuries, the different have been used to build walls instead of bridges. When we speak of gender diversity, we are talking about the fundamental right to exist in freedom. When a society embraces the diversity, dialogue becomes a space for connection. Everybody can participate in this question during 2 or 3 minutes approximately. The question is, how can the acceptance of gender diversity strengthen dialogue and reconciliation?
Thank you, Raquel. Rogelio, can you speak now?
José Raúl, muy buenos días en Perú. Señor presidente de la Fundación Gandhi Mandela. Ante la ley de Dios, todos somos iguales. El amor es lo más humilde que tiene el ser humano que disponemos. La educación es la base para derrotar la pobreza. Yo sigo a Gandhi desde muy niño, sigo sus principios. Para mí es un gusto estar en contacto con personas de diferentes partes del mundo, gracias a la Fundación Gandhi Mandela. Yo estoy a la orden para cada uno de ustedes desde mi país de origen. Tenemos muchas cosas para ofrecer al mundo. Es la parte de Sudamérica. Cuando gusten, estoy atento para servirlos a ustedes. El futuro depende de lo que hagas hoy. Es una frase de usó Gandhi. Gracias.
Muchísimas gracias, Rogelio, por estar siempre ahí apoyando nuestro trabajo, tanto de mujeres líderes como del Instituto Nueva Masculinidad o ahora de la Gandhi Mandela. Thank you very much, Rogelio, for your support. And also, I hope to work with you in Peru soon. Bye.
Gracias.
And Najel, please.
Sorry if I take the floor for the second time, because I feel I'm really very, very concerned about both topics. So I want to share with you my own experience as a human rights defender. I have learned that dialogue begins when people feel recognized as human beings, not just as problems. This principle guided the decisive role played by the Tunisian League for the Defense of Human Rights, which is my organization. We played this role during Tunisia's democratic transition. At a moment of a deep political crisis, it helped facilitate inclusive dialogue, defended fundamental rights and freedoms, and promoted non-violent solutions, contributing to stability and consensus in a deeply polarized society. We led what we call the national dialogue. That's why we were awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2015. But as we are speaking about now gender equality, etc., and diversity. In many of the spaces I work in, especially in the MENA and North Africa region, people who do not conform to traditional gender norms are often silenced or pushed to the margins. When someone lives in fear or invisibility, they cannot truly engage in dialogue. And acceptance creates safety, and safety allows people to speak, to listen, and connect. I have also seen how exclusion damages reconciliation. So societies cannot heal when they deny the existence or dignity of some of their members. So reconciliation requires acknowledging harm and restoring trust. Accepting gender diversity is a way of saying, between brackets, you belong, your experience matters, and your dignity is non-negotiable. On a very human level, acceptance changes relationships. It replaces suspicion with empathy and confrontation with conversation. When people are allowed to be themselves, dialogue becomes more honest, and differences are no longer seen as threats. At last, for me, of course, acceptance of gender diversity is not an abstract idea or a foreign concept, a Western concept, as we usually say in my region. No, it is a practical condition for peace. It strengthens social cohesion, opens the space for reconciliation, and helps our societies move forward together rather than against one another. And thank you very much to listen to me.
Thank you, Nayet. I will give the floor to Nishat Shali.
Thank you so much for giving me that opportunity, Raquel. And Najit, how beautifully you put it across that, exclusion damages the reconciliation. I believe that's going to be my headline for the next post for my LinkedIn and for my other social media, sites. So that was really beautiful. I certainly, coming from the community, I do understand, when there is no acceptance of the diversity of the genders and, the area that you come from, whichever part of the world you are from, it definitely, it breaks the bridge to be on the path where we could, create a safe space, a psychological safe space for everyone to, come and have that kind of a dialogue. So it is really important for us to, let people be themselves, be empathetic, and let us be open to listen to them. We all are so eager to, talk that, okay, this is what I believe, this is what I believe, this is how it should be like. But I believe, when we let people be themselves and the least we could do is just listen to them. I believe that's the stepping stone of creating a room for acceptance, and so that people can be themselves, they can be free to express themselves and open to dialogue, express themselves, and the listener can be empathetic, and that's the road we got to build to have the kind of a right conversation. There's always going to be pros and cons for it. However, you know I believe that's the beauty to reach to the reconciliation, that okay, with the pros and the cons, if we are still empathetic and let people be themselves, and I can be myself and you can be yourself, and that's the road that we can build to reach the right path. So thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you, Nishat. The next person is Rubén Gómez from Peru.
Ok, muy buenas tardes a todos ustedes. Ante todo, mi nombre es Rubén Gómez Sánchez Soto, soy de Lima, Perú. He sido invitado por Rogelio, un gran amigo que tengo. Incluso les comento, y bueno, primeramente, agradezco mucho por todos los puntos vertidos el día de hoy. Y anoche también estuvimos en un evento en la Embajada de la India, sumamente importante. Y ahora quiero mencionar que evidentemente Gandhi es una de las personas muy seguidas en el mundo. Hay millones de seguidores de él y lo importante es pues que él elevó la no violencia de un principio ético a una estrategia política poderosa y transformadora. Un tema que actualmente en nuestro mundo global lo necesitamos de una manera intensa. Por eso felicito este evento y continuaré asistiendo según las invitaciones que reciba. Muchas gracias. Thank you for listening to me.
Gracias, Rubén, por tu intervención. Thank you, Rubén. And we go to Librada Ella.
Sí, buenas tardes. Voy a hacer un guiño a mis colegas ahí de América Latina. Voy a responder en español. Is the translation for everybody? Ok, entonces puedo continuar en español. Bien, pienso que es importante que por el sentido normal básico de cualquier sentido común, no sé cómo decirlo, elemental, hay muchos tipos de personas en este mundo. Eso no hay que hacer ni una cátedra para entender que hay un montón de personas diferentes. Y cada lugar geográfico donde se encuentran esas personas que son diferentes, también tiene unas especificidades culturales que están asociadas a esa diferencia que ya existe. Entonces, es importante, primero, que entendamos que cuando nos trasladamos de un lugar para otro y no tenemos dificultades en aceptar dentro de un espacio diferente al de nuestra hábitat normal, la gente no se extraña cuando viaja a un sitio diferente y encuentra otras cosas. Normalmente uno comprende y acepta que así se hace en este lugar, sin mucho problema. Eso significa que en el foro interno de cualquier ser humano es capaz de aceptar, incluso dentro de su lugar normal de vida y de hábitat, que hay personas que también pueden ser diferentes. Entonces, si estamos hablando de la diversidad de género, concretamente, discúlpenme, no existe al tanto. Sí, por favor, estoy en una reunión virtual. Le llamo. ¿Quién es? Ok. Entonces, es importante que entendamos que la diversidad de género, alguien ha hablado de reconciliación. Eso me hace hacer otra reflexión. ¿Qué va antes, el remedio o la prevención? Yo siempre pienso que hay que llegar a algunos puntos donde no se necesita poner remedios, porque la prevención ha sido suficientemente efectiva. ¿A qué me refiero con esto? No hace falta hacer reconciliación si todos hacemos un esfuerzo, porque la pregunta es cómo se llega a una armonía, digamos, y evitar los conflictos. Los conflictos tienen distintas escalas. Para que un conflicto se vuelva realmente una ruptura de paz, tiene que haber salido de una escala normal hasta explotar, podemos decirlo así. Porque los conflictos nacen, crecen y se multiplican. Voy a decirlo así, de una forma un poco graciosa, puedo decirlo así coloquial, pero es así. Para que haya una ruptura total es porque hemos dejado pasar todas las etapas previas sin hacer absolutamente nada. Es cuando llega, hay que ir a la reconciliación. Alguien decía también, ¿qué actos hacemos todos los días para poder preservar la paz? La primera forma de aceptar que la paz debe existir es aceptar que hay personas que no son diferentes, que son diferentes, que no piensan igual que nosotros y no por eso son nuestros enemigos, ni
Gracias,
nuestros inferiores.
gracias, Libra.
Gracias.
Different idea, different people, and the main point is the respect. We continue with Goodwin Pamitso. Oops. Okay, we're going with.
Thank you. I'm
okay.
here.
Perfect.
Thank you for this platform. It is a privilege that I'm representing almost 500 refugees, LGBT refugees. And that is a clear sign that refugees have been forced from their countries of origin because of persecution and violence due to their gender identities and sexual orientation, and they are forced to flee to other countries. But again, on reaching into other countries, they pass through a lot of social injustices, a lot of violences, a lot of harassment, and this is what I'm going to talk about in relation to how exclusion affects gender diversity. I want to thank you. I don't work alone. As a leader, I can see one of the representatives I work with is also on this platform, and I'm thankful for him. I want to talk about exclusion by the government systems, because when we are discussing embracing diversity, we also need to understand what are the challenges that are people facing as advocates, as human rights defenders. What are we going to do to make sure that we embrace diversity and avoid social exclusion? We must know what are the challenges. What I'm giving you is firsthand, because I'm a refugee myself, and as a leader, I've seen firsthand challenges that my fellow LGBT refugees are passing through. First of all, I will talk about government systems. People who have fled from Burundi, people who have fled from Somalia, LGBT people who have fled from Uganda, and they have gone to Kenya, for example. This is the first time when I was in Kenya. I've witnessed a lot of exclusion from the government. This is a systemic discrimination. And when we talk about that, it means that refugees, when the government discriminates refugees, especially due to their statuses, they provoke the entire refugee community to be against these refugees. So this is the first thing that I've witnessed on the people that I lead. And there has been always delayed and blocked asylum processes. So it means when there is a delayed asylum status and a delayed refugee status determination, it means this refugee is not given international protection. So is exposed to all the harassments and all the attacks and the violences for who this refugee is. So this, it has affected them. It has affected them. They have stayed in fear. They have always exposed to arbitrary arrests and deportation and violence. So when we talk about embracing diversity and how social exclusion affects peace, and these are the challenges. It begins with the government. For example, when I'm speaking on behalf of the refugees, it begins with the government where we flee to, where we seek refuge, where we seek asylum to. The government, first of all, the policies, the constitutions of the African governments do not support LGBTQ people, do not support some. They discriminate and treat others. They don't treat people equally. They don't treat refugees equally. So there's no peace at all. Another thing is social exclusion. The fellow refugees that we stay in, for example, they are not sensitized about who is LGBT, who is not LGBT. When they look at an LGBT person, a transgender person, a lesbian, they feel these are outcasts. They actually name my people. They name them devils. They name them caste people. So it means that the society is so much different in understanding the identities of the LGBTQ plus people. So it means if they cannot understand the identities, it is hard for them to support these people. It is hard for them to treat them, to protect them. It is hard for them to live with them, to coexist with them. So understanding at one point, even if there is harassment and violence and attacks, beginning from the top, the governments, and also going to the societies, there's lack of understanding. And also, I've witnessed humanitarian neglect. So when we are trying to really advocate and raising concerns on what is going on, how we are embracing diversity and so on, but we are trying to see now that the humanitarian sector has neglected the people, especially due to their agenda. Look at the USA. Look at what USA did. By the time that people were processed, asylum seekers were processed as refugees and were supposed to be resettled, were supposed to be given international protection in the US. So by that time, this is when the US government, the humanitarian sector, the humanitarian aid in the US stopped and they closed it. And it affected a lot, of refugees. This has been an example that the humanitarian sector is broken down. So as we are looking into all this, we have a lot of results and effects. Living alone peace, we have people, like for example, my people are suffering hunger. There is a crisis of hunger. They are starving to death because there is no humanitarian aid. And they are being attacked daily because the society is against them. As all of you who knows South Sudan is a war endemic area. The government the government was against us, and they said, we don't want you here. We don't want you to be asylum seekers in this country, because our society, our beliefs, and our cultures and our religions are different from your culture. We don't want you to spoil our culture. So that is the first question. I don't know if you have gone to another, but I wanted to summarize so that I can also tackle another question if I'm allowed.
Thank you, Godwin. We finally with Imma Alsina.
Yes? I didn't hear?
Yes, now we are going to Imma. We heard him.
Thank you, Raquel. It's an honor to be here and to have the opportunity to learn from all of you and to listen different views and perspectives. And what I would like to share is that I believe peace is the essence of the human being. I firmly believe peace is the essence of the human being. And why then we don't have peace? Because we are far away from that essence of who we really are. In peace, there is unity. And the real unity embraces all possibilities. So there is a beauty of diversity, because this diversity completes the unity and is much richer. And yeah, I just wanted to share this idea, this belief, and to thank deeply every one of you, because it's very important to have these inspirational dialogues to elevate, to promote consciousness, and to go forward to this essence of the human being. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Accepting the plurality of identity is the first step toward rebuilding our community. I give the word to Jose Raul to make the close the topic.
Thank you very much, Raquel, and to all the participants. Very, very interesting, this first dialogue. We now arrive at the final reflection of our dialogue. For this important moment, we are grateful to have Ambassador Adewale Oso from the United Kingdom with us. Mr. Oso is a global strategist with more than 28 years of experience in agribusiness, finance, and sustainable development across Africa. He has worked from rural community in Senegal and the Gambia to international institutions such as the United Nations, ECOWAS, IFAD, and UNESCO. Mr. Oso, the floor is yours for the final reflection. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, Mr. Rao. I'm happy to be among great colleagues, wonderful people that have expressed their views on this, and I'm happy for that fantastic introduction. So that I'm not going to introduce myself again because you've hit, the ball at the right place. Thank you for your introduction, for introducing me. I'm very happy to be here among different colleagues, mixed colleagues. When I mean mixed colleagues in various professions, medical, other areas, social sciences, from what I've heard that you've said about, diversity, embracing gender diversity for peace. Mr. Rao, I guess you see sometimes when we're talking about peace, when sometimes I try to exchange some messages with you, I told you, I said, in anything we do, without peace, nothing works. And that is true. And I try to give you some example that is happening. Originally, I'm a native of, my nationality is Nigeria, right? And with at least most of us where we are all over the world, we know what is happening in Nigeria today with the ethnicity. I was in our discussions that we've been talking, I've never had anybody talked about ethnicity, but most of our colleagues here have talked about acceptance. But now I want to make it so clear a little bit. You see, we have 3 major ethnic groups in Nigeria. We have the Yoruba, where I come from. We have the Hausa, and then we have the Igbo. These are the 3 major ethnic groups we have in Nigeria. But the main problem affecting these people are supposed to be together. But where there is no acceptance or acknowledgement, because first of all, most of our colleagues spoke about acknowledgement. I was happy about what Mr. Shoki talked about. I was so impressed about what Professor Najet also spoke about. And summarily, I was also impressed with what almost everybody talked about. You were able to hit the point where you are supposed to. You see, ethnicity is important. And ethnicity, between those ethnicity, they need what? Acknowledgement. You need to acknowledge yourself. And a gentleman came up and he was talking, I think Mr. I wrote his name down so that I can be able to, for people to understand. I think, is it Ruben Gomez? No, sorry. Somebody spoke very, very good. And he talked about that you be yourself and I am myself. You understand? Be yourself and you are yourself. Be who you are. Let me respect you for who you are in your ethnic, background. And you can see now, we have so many complicated issues as I'm talking to you. I'm sorry to say that I'm using a case study that I know, which is my country. Right? We have this issue, and except we acknowledge who we are and are able to accept ourselves, that certain things can fall into place and there can be peace. It's just like drawing, a triangle like this. You see, acknowledge yourself, ethnicity at the top, acknowledge yourself. When you acknowledge yourself, acceptance, then we will be in peace. Dialogue of self has already taken place. It is in acknowledging ourselves and accepting. Dialogue has already taken place. So I just see it that this is a very fantastic topic, very good. And I know it's like we are in an institution, the way I see us all together. So I pray and I hope that we will have more kind of program sometime soon again that will make us really understand where we're going when it comes to embracing gender diversity for peace. And that is it. Even ethnicity, inability not to accept ourselves, inability not to acknowledge is what lead to most of the present day war we are experiencing today. Or else there wouldn't be anything like that. It's still in the same fate of not being able to understand, okay, this ethnicity, you don't want this ethnic group to exist. you just want this one to exist. You see, because we have refused to acknowledge even who we are individually. And that is why we tend to find ourselves in these areas of problems. But I believe that we will get there sometime soon. Just not to take much of our time, because I think it's about 2 minutes for every discussion that takes place, because I respect time a lot. I want to say a very big thank you to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. You are really a very good example from the people from Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much to all our moderators for your excellent work, and thank you to every person who has spoken. Your reflection made this dialogue meaningful.